Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. The topic today is my biggest adjustment out of 7 that I will mention, marrying a Filipina. That's a woman from the Philippines, and I've been married over 7 years, but the gist of this channel is just find somebody, get married, don't live your life alone. I waited a long time. I found a wife in the Philippines, but it's best, I think, that you just find somebody somewhere. Now, we talk quite a bit about cultural differences and age differences between foreigners and Filipinas on channels like mine. Filipinas are still sought after as wives. Why? Well, for their traditional values, feminine appearance, and friendly demeanor, worth spending thousands for. Sounds great, and it can be, but not without having to make various adjustments. Where do I even start? Well, please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea. That's a good start for you to learn about finding and experiencing marital love. This is a channel that can help with learning how to live with and take care of a wife, to be the husband she has always dreamed of. I married a woman from the Philippines. That was in 2015. Got married very quickly, not even 8 weeks to get married. So we have our own adjustments that we have had to make, but anyone will. And I'm going to list some areas that will require an adjustment before culminating with what is my biggest adjustment and put it into perspective. So this will take 2 parts. Let's just start with the vast difference between you. The vast distance between you, the mileage. My wife grew up about 9,800 flight miles. That's 4 flights just to get there from me. I made 8 flights to see her, marry her, and return home in April of 2015. Got married in May, and that's just the way it is, the way it works. After marrying a Filipina, she will want to go home now and then, and that is good for her. I'd like to think if you were able to, that you would go with her. We have returned 4 times to the Philippines, just went earlier this year in March, and she plans to visit again late in 2023, next year, taking anywhere from 26 to 36 hours to get to a destination by plane isn't easy. That's if you don't have delays and missed flights due to bad weather. Thankfully, the 3rd time was much better than the other 2. The 4th time seemed pretty normal. It's still an adjustment. Hopefully you don't hurt your back sitting as long as you will. Might have to take some sleeping pills, pain pills. Airport security can be a hassle too, but this is all part of the experience of international travel, and it's an adjustment. Probably should look at that as just an adventure and something you have to bear with. Let's talk about the age gap real quick. I've made many videos about that on YouTube. I'll keep rolling them out here. Our age difference between my wife and I, 27 years, because I know you guys are going to ask, hasn't been a problem. What about other ways related to age, such as attitude, maturity differences? We haven't had any issues there, as we are fairly similar despite our age difference. My wife isn't materialistic and thinks of others before herself. I really like that. I would think this was the case for years, even before I met her. Someone her age from America might be more materialistic and self-centered. A lot of that can be due to a Filipina's need to help her family, or her obligation, which requires her to earn money for them that you wouldn't ordinarily see where you live. I would describe myself as being old-fashioned and would describe my wife similarly. Mentally or physically, I haven't thought about her age as being a detriment or even a challenge, really, in our marriage. There are always going to be challenges, however. The better you know how to manage them, the easier it gets. Age hasn't been a big adjustment for us. Then there are interests. I wasn't a man who had a lot of irons in the fire when it came to hobbies. I was blessed to work at the same company for 40 years. I worked 6 days a week, holidays, weekends, even if I was on vacation. I loved going to work. I liked watching football, basketball. Sports is a big deal here in Nebraska. Didn't have any hobbies that would somehow interfere with getting married, so that was good. If something did, then it would have to be eliminated or changed. My wife worked when she was in the Philippines, so she kept busy with that. We both like watching basketball. Our musical interests, they're very similar. I know a lot more bands than she does because I'm older, but I like the ones that she likes too. She likes plants. She likes to travel some, so I do my best to show interest in those things too. I never wanted to travel before. I never saw those musicals. That's been an adjustment, but it's been a good one for me. Then there's culture. When I think about culture, I think about the obligation to children here, or of children, to take care of their parents and sometimes other siblings. If a foreign man can't accept this, then that will need to change. That's going to have to change in his marriage to a Filipina. Somehow he'll have to kind of learn more about that and roll with it, because he's often going to be frustrated if he doesn't. He can't expect her to alienate herself from a way of thinking she's probably always lived with and been exposed to, especially if she's the oldest daughter. Whatever it is, cultural differences don't have to be fully understood or shared by the foreigner, but when married to a Filipina, it has to be accepted. I have helped my wife more than I initially expected to, but that is because I love her, and what is important to her, I want to be important to me. When we help her family in any way, then I feel like we are both blessed for doing that. We both share in her, or in their benefit. Culture has been an adjustment, and I will elaborate more on helping the family later in part 2. So leave comments here about adjustments. Maybe if you've known a Filipino for a while, been married, adjustments you had to make that you realized you need to put into place. So please leave comments and stay tuned for part 2 of my biggest adjustment in marrying a Filipina here on Love Beyond